Okay, my name is Michael Nestfasil. Today I'm talking with Joyce. It's Tuesday, October 23rd, 2021, at her home in Burleson, Texas. Milton Gibson is operating the video equipment. The interview is being conducted for the Veterans History Project at the Library of Congress. So, Joyce, would you please tell us your full first, middle, and last name?
Joyce Larue Scatchard.
Thank you. And your date of birth?
3/16/44.
And where were you born?
Indiana, Pennsylvania, home of Jimmy Stewart.
Okay, one of my favorite actors. Who, your parents, were they, do you remember their occupations? Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Well, my mother did everything in the world to maintain a house for 6 girls. And my dad was a coal miner for 20 years, and he also worked at General Motors in Ohio for another 20 years. So.
Okay. So 6 girls. That was the extent of the family?
Well, they came in twos at the end. I was one of the twins, so they stopped. They couldn't get a boy, so they stopped.
So, are any of your sisters also veterans?
No.
No? Okay. Do you remember maybe what your family thought about you going into the Air Force?
You know, I didn't talk to them a lot about it, so therefore I'm sure they were agreeable to anything I wanted to do. I had gone into nursing school for RN before that, and my grandmother was not happy with that. She was one of those old Germans that didn't want girls to do anything but clean house and take care of their mothers, I guess.
So where did you go to school at?
Grade school,
in nursing school.
I went in, we moved to Ohio when I was in the 6th grade, and that was Cleveland, Ohio. So I went to nursing school there at Huron Road Hospital.
Okay. So, can you start talking about your early days of service, like where you were inducted, training that you went through? Was there like an OCS for you and things like that?
Well, I was, I joined the Air Force a year out of nursing school. I had worked at the hospital where I had graduated from, and that was too much. I wanted to leave there, so this friend of mine and I were going to go to Hawaii, but she chickened out, so this recruiter came by and talked about the Air Force, so that's when I decided that's what I wanted to do. So I drove down with my sister, my twin sister and mother, down to Wichita Falls for my officer's training in August, I think it was, and it was pretty hot. I only had 3 weeks of officer's training there. It was like a few days on bivouac, which didn't amount to too much. We learned how to march and salute and do a few things like that officers do. And then I went on from Wichita Falls. I was assigned to Sacramento, California at Mather Air Force Base. And I was there for 3 years. My commitment for the Air Force was only 2 years, but I extended so that I could go to Vietnam. There was a list of nurses were in a long line to go to Vietnam. I'm not sure why, but we were all crazy at the time. So I had to wait for a year before I was assigned over to Vietnam, Cam Ranh Bay. So my only assignments were in California at Mather and then Cameron Bay, the 26th Aerovac hospital there. And that's where we took care of all these guys that were just unbelievable. They were just so happy to be brought in there alive, but still and all had been with their buddies who had not made it. They were unbelievable when it came to helping each other, so we didn't have a lot of work to do other than the medical part. I would make rounds every day with the doctor. There's maybe 50 to 100 patients were brought in every day from various little hospitals around, and we would get them cleaned up, medicated, and just made the decision whether they wanted to go whether we wanted them to go to the Philippines for short-term care, or they were sent to Japan, where then they were sent back to the States and they didn't come back to the war at all. We took care of the Koreans, the Vietnamese, the mostly Americans, and they were, like I say, very brave. There were plenty of stories that I could tell, but I would probably not be able to make it through the stories. I remember a Korean wanted to keep the Bible that we had given him. Of course, we were going to let him keep it anyway, but he wanted to keep the Bible. It was special for him. The guys were just, they were mainly, had seen various stories from the States of how people were reacting to the guys in Vietnam, the soldiers. And they were mainly afraid of going back to their friends and facing them with their war wounds. I mean, these guys had amputations. There were so many amputations. And they were just mainly embarrassed that they had to go back there and show their friends what happened to them, knowing their friends were against them going to the war anyway. So it was pretty sad. But all in all, it was a great experience. I wouldn't have traded it for the world. And that's about all.
Well, so it was just a one-year tour at Cameron? Okay. And the highest rank you achieved was?
I went in as a second lieutenant and and my rank going out was a captain.
Okay. So, you mentioned that you went on a short bivouac in OCS.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the hardest part of the training?
Not
Or the easiest?
really. I don't know that there was any hard part of my training, because I was just gung-ho, young chick. I could do anything. I learned how to hold on to a snake, which I had never done, and that was really, take a shower with very little water coming down the pipe. But I mean, there weren't any big things that I can recall that I had to do in officers training.
Okay.
I got the saluting down and the marching down, and I never had to do much of that afterwards. But
Did you form any good friendships with the people you served with in Cameron?
I did, but I'm sorry, when I left, I didn't get any information enough to carry on afterwards. So that's one thing that I do regret. My hooch mates.
Yeah.
There were like 4 2, 4, 6, 8, 8 of us. And it was a good group. We were all together and really had a good time. And we had a nice beach there. We didn't get to use it very often, but Cameron Bay we're right close to the beach, so.
Sure. What kind of recreational things did you do when you weren't on duty in the hospital?
That was about it, going to the beach. And as far as, there wasn't a gym or there wasn't anything. It was hot. It was too hot to be outside, really. We had mainly we had worked 12-hour shifts, and I can't even remember how many in a row we would work, so it wasn't like it wasn't a picnic or anything, but we were there to do what we did, and it wasn't a big deal either. I can't even remember the days off that I had other than going to the beach.
So were you, did the hospital staff have any kind of like good luck routines or things they always did in the same way to bring good luck to the day of work?
I don't remember that.
Okay.
We had a lot of mortars that would hit close to the hospital. In fact, while I was over there, the Army got hit, and there were nurses that were killed and injured. But I can remember one of the nurses, we'd all get under the desk after we got all the patients either under the beds or mattresses on them that, when they couldn't get up and move, we'd put a mattress over them. This one nurse was not very helpful. She would be under that desk before anything, so.
Yeah.
That happened quite a bit.
Do you have any, what would you call was the best part of your military experience?
Probably just the people, be it wherever you work, it's the people you work with or the people you meet. So many young guys. I thought I was old at 20, I think I was 25, and I was old because they were like 17, 18-year-old guys. So brave, so, like I said, so happy to just be alive.
Were you a surgical nurse or a ward nurse?
I was the ward nurse.
Okay. Do you recall you were discharged after your tour in Cameron?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember that last day of active duty, and where was it at? What did they put you through, make you do? You have to sign a lot of papers, or?
No, not really. I don't remember that much about it either. My brain is kind of fuzzy. I remember flying into, I guess it was Washington, but I don't remember. There's a lot of things I don't remember. It's been I'm old. That's why, I guess.
Well, you said Washington. You mean McChord Air Force Base in Washington State?
I guess that's where it was.
Okay.
But I don't remember all the things that I've heard that people reacted to, because I was not in uniform either. So had I been in uniform, I would have probably had a lot more reaction from the people around me. But
sure.
That was the right thing I did. I wasn't in uniform.
Yeah. You brought a photo album. Did you have pictures you wanted to share with us, or?
I do, but I don't know if you can. There's a lot of pictures. That's the entrance into Cameron.
That looks pretty good.
Those are old pictures too. They're fading out too.
Yeah. It's what my old pictures are faded too.
Yeah. This is.
That you with some of your.
Yeah, that's when we were out at the orphanage near the hospital there. We're on our way out there. Well, that was an experience with the flies, and the babies didn't have diapers. They were just laying flat on the plastic. I guess that's me there.
Okay.
I wasn't I was a blonde most of my life, but I wasn't a blonde over there. I didn't have a. Yeah, this is just traveling out there. The Vietnamese. I don't know if all those will come out with the plat.
It's looking very good on the screen back
Oh,
there.
good. There I am. They told me this was some kind of a torture place, but I don't know. I got crawled in there anyway.
Yeah.
And this was outside the beauty shop where they, I don't even remember going to a beauty shop over there, but the sign said beauty shop.
Mm.
This is where the guys went out and did dental work for the Vietnamese, the doctors. It's just more of the same. We'd go by these villages that had all these weird things hanging out, chickens and everything that were. This was where I lived, in the hooch that I lived in, and we had some crazy signs like "Make America Beautiful, Send Me Home." Was it hell is forever, Cameron Bay is only a year. And then we had a round-eyed lounge. These guys were pretty glad to see some round eyes around.
And I'll have to, for the information of the audiences in the future that might not understand what the term round eye means. Can you explain?
Well, the Vietnamese eyes were slant eyes, and they actually, that's all they saw over there. So when they saw round-eyed, that meant there was some American women around. This lady here, this is a helmet that we painted red. She was the fire marshal for the hooch. And this is actually the wards where I worked. They were brought in from the planes into with a bus, and there were stretchers in the bus. Of course, those that could ambulate had had seats on another bus. But every day they would go out and come in. Another group would come in, go out. Every day. It never stopped.
Is that a picture of you and your Class Bs?
Yeah. That's what I worked in. You could see the different guys all with amputations or big injuries. It's just some of my hooch mates. And there's the beach. That was me. Those were the days I could fit into a bathing suit. But, you know, it was with China Beach there. That was it.
Wasn't there a TV show named China Beach at
Yeah.
all? Okay.
Thanks.
When you got home, did you go back to Cleveland, or where did life take you?
Actually, I got married and was married for 3 years, and that didn't work out too well, but we did have a beautiful baby, and she's still a beautiful baby.
So, was that in the Cleveland area, or did you stay?
That was in California, and then we moved to Texas.
Ah, okay. So, I think you touched on it before, but you really didn't have any problems returning, being received by your family and community?
No, my family was in Ohio, so I didn't get to see them right away. After the baby was born, we went up there, though, and we were close. But we weren't. Mileage was not close, so.
Right. So, did you go right back to nursing, or did you go back to school and get more education?
No, I went right back to nursing. We went. It's funny. There's a hospital. We moved to San Antonio, so when I went to get a job there. It was Northeast Baptist. The director of nurses says, "Oh, you've been in Vietnam, so you could probably work in coronary care or ICU." They didn't have monitors there, and of course they didn't have too many when I first started there. But because I had the experience of Vietnam, she thought I was just really up there. But anyway, I did start in ICU and worked there for 3 or 4 years, and then went on to the emergency room and worked there 20-some years. And it's a great people down in San Antonio. Then I went into hospice up here because my daughter got married and moved up here and started having her babies, so that's when I moved up here to be with her babies.
Sure. Did you join any veterans organizations?
I didn't.
Okay.
I actually joined, but I didn't really commit to it.
Okay. So, did your time in the military, did it affect your life in any way? Do you think you're the same person? Do you think you'd be the same person today you are if you hadn't done time in the Air Force?
It's hard to say because I've taken care of some strange and wild patients in the outside of the military as well as inside, so I don't know that it changed me except for me meeting the people that I did, and I was maybe more structured there, but I was never wild and crazy. Well, maybe a little bit.
So, did your time in the military change your feelings about war and military service? Would you still recommend it to somebody as a way to start life after education?
That's a hard question. It kind of depends on the person themselves, because I have a grandson now that's, he's 19, and I don't know that I'd recommend a war for him or going into war. He's doing so well. Anyway, he's in college, and my granddaughter's in college, and so, I'm blessed that way, and I don't know that I'd recommend the military, but I don't have anything bad to say about it. I think those that are a little misguided, maybe, not sure where they're going or what they want to do, sometimes it's a good place to grow up and be a man or woman.
Yes. Do you have any kind of message you'd like to leave, you would like future generations to hear when they listen to this, like possibly your great-grandchildren?
Gosh. I haven't thought too much about it, but just doing what you really have in your heart to do and be happy. The main thing is just being happy with whatever you decide to do, and if you're not happy, then try something different. And until you get to where you're comfortable with yourself and your future, whatever you're doing.
Okay.
That sounds pretty.
Is there anything that you'd like to add that we haven't talked about in the interview? Any thoughts, recollections, any more advice?
I think I don't know, not maybe my great-grandchildren, but for anybody to show more respect to the military. And it's, of course, these people that aren't respectful, it's hard to teach them to be respected, be respectful. They learn that at an early age with their families and their mothers and dads, but there's so many kiddos that don't learn that, or if they're not taught that, they don't know that. And you certainly learn that in the military. You learn to respect, or you're shown other ways to get through life.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I haven't thought a lot about this, so I don't know what else I can say about it.
Okay. This one might be a little tough, but it's an opportunity, I think, maybe for some people. Do you have any experience in the military you've always wanted to share but never have?
Well, that's a good question, but I guess I should have gone over some of these questions because they're stumping me.
That's okay. Is there anything particular you would like people to remember about your conversation today?
Well, it didn't hurt that much. I haven't lost any sleep thinking about it, but I don't know. I don't talk a lot about it, but not, I think what is, I guess it bothers me more than anything, people don't ask about it either. Most people don't want to hear your experience, or they're afraid to ask. Maybe they're afraid to ask you what all went on because they're afraid that will upset you, and that's not really true of most people that have been over there. They do want to talk about it, and they do want you to ask questions about it. And but like I say, even my close friends don't want to get me bothered or whatever by asking me about it. I guess because I tear up a lot when I do talk about it, so that's probably why.
Okay. Well, that's pretty much all the questions I've got. Thank you for sharing your time and your life with us, and thank you for your service and for all the young servicemen and possibly ladies that you helped medically and treated for their service.
Well, they certainly helped me too. Thank you.